Friends and colleagues at the SAMEA conference in South Africa, I greet you and I hope you all are well. I'm sad that I could not join you physically today, but I am grateful for the technology that enables me to still share my thoughts with you in this format. That a community of distinguished experts in monitoring and evaluation, data science, and evidence for decision making has come together in Africa to see how our collective knowledge could be put to good use is both encouraging and hope-giving. I've been asked to speak on the ethical uses of data. But rather than speak to the technical aspects of the subject, because much has been documented and we all have Google, I wish to share three main observations that we have made this past decade working with data in Africa. First, behind the data are actual human beings. You see, good data leads to good policy, which usually means better lives for our people. But the nature of data science is such that data geeks, such as we are, find it easy to forget the human story behind the data. Human beings have nuance and are mostly never black and white, certainly not in our choices. We learned that working with communities that collect citizen-generated data. For example, in Laneto Moja, where citizen-generated data was collected from all 12,500 households, we learned that the petty theft of chicken and household goods happened 3 times a year, not during the holidays as we often think, but just before schools opened. Conventional wisdom had it that the thieves were delinquent youth who used the proceeds of theft to buy more alcohol. But when you add the nuance of the school opening, it occurred to us and the villagers that the parents were the more likely culprits. This information does influence the design of any interventions that we do differently. It is necessary that we find and tell the human story behind data for us to foster sympathy and understanding. The second lesson is that data needs to become a lot more inclusive. Today, data is an elite subject discussed in lofty spaces like this one with smart people like you. The problem is similar to the first, that human beings most affected by data tend not to be in the same room to give nuance and depth to the data, and more importantly to the solutions and the programs that we develop. At the Open Institute, we have a rule based on this lesson, that all data must be given back to the subjects of the data even if they are illiterate, and the ensuing programs must be locally designed by them and us. One thing that you may find, as we have in some places, is that the indicators of success for an intervention and the tracking points of that program are likely to be different, and that would be determined by incidences that surprise you. For example, farmers will prioritize tilling their land to coming to a meeting to evaluate the progress of things during the rainy season. Finally, it is crucial that we build demand for data protection. We did an awareness campaign in Kenya to sensitize people on data and how it can be used against them. The campaign that reached more than 5 million people got us to learn a really important lesson, that many people have no idea that their data is being collected as they live out their lives, and that in many cases it is used for purposes that they may not approve of. We need to aggressively build systems for data protection in our countries and to empower our people to care enough to ask the question, what are you going to do with my data? One bonus point, we have learned that citizens care most about what is happening in their communities, social circles, and less about the national and international activities. If we move the arena of development from the national and international to the local and hyperlocal, much will change, and quickly. So as you go through the rest of the conference, I wish you really fruitful deliberations and lasting connections. I hope that we all stay together and work together to make even bigger change.